Welcome back to our special coverage, Seeking Justice in Ferguson. Let's get back to our panel here. I wanted to point out, guys, in September of 2013, so almost a year to the date, Missouri Attorney General Chris Koster held a summit called the Attorney General's Urban Crime Summit. 5 recommendations came out of that summit, okay? None of them have to do with making sure that race relations are better, you know, between the community and the police officers. 6 recommendations, nothing about dealing with the racial problems, the racial components.
There's a willful silence often on racial issues.
Willful silence, I like
silence.
that.
It's because we want to pretend that we've dealt with this, that the civil rights movement was a success. And the reality is the long-standing systemic problems are not addressed. Attorney General Holder said that we are really fearful around and cowards around dealing with race issues, and he got a lot of flack for that. The reality is we're seeing that happen right before us. This is a national issue. When you had in 2013 roughly 28 incidents of extrajudicial violence against black people, there is a systemic national conversation to be had here. And I think that Missouri and Ferguson is catching the attention and the imaginations of the entire nation. Across all racial lines, people are saying there's a problem here.
That's right.
And they're marching and they're organizing, and so we need to actually address it as a national issue.
Well, we always act like this is new, though. I mean, it's ironic.
Isn't it the truth?
I wrote a book, and it came out in '96, and I said we need a national conversation on race. Of course, you know how far that went. And we always say the same thing every time we have a riot or some kind of a Rodney King episode or a Trayvon Martin episode. We come back and say we need a national conversation. But well, you know what? This is how we do a conversation in this country. You know, you wait for some eruption to happen, and then cable TV, everybody else goes crazy, including us. You know, we'll talk about it afterwards. You know, and you hope the message sinks in out there.
Well, back to what you've said, Reverend Harmon, and Matthew, you've touched on it as well. Eric Holder, in my estimation, has been loud and proud and doing the right thing and coming out and speaking about race even prior to any incident happening, and has been receiving a lot of flack.
A lot of flack.
A lot of flack.
Well,
you know,
it's politicized. This is the thing, though. You know, where's it coming from? Republicans, and it would be the same thing the other way around. Because I remember when back when Republicans were on the side of civil rights, and Democrats were against it, and all that. You saw the same thing happening. No, let's not confuse race with politics here, because politics can be more of an agitator sometimes than a remedy. At the same time, you know, I don't mind if these reports don't mention race, if they at least talk about real community policing. Because I don't care if you're black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. This is nothing new. Back when Italians were fighting the Irish in Chicago, or the Poles, etc. Same thing. You need to have police who worked with the community, who walked the beat, didn't just cruise through.
Well, the thing is this: I'm writing a book, Bigots with Badges.
Oh,
again,
nice.
When you look at now, and that came from a story by the New York Post that with the U.S. Marshals when we were having all the racial problems, and we still do. I'm the class agent in a class action of all the black U.S. Marshals across the country. Again, this shows a culture in place of if you're having these problems internally, you know what's going to happen on the street. And I tell this to people all the time. I say, when you look at this Ferguson police bomb, you see 50 or what I think it said,
53
white officers.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you see 3 black.
That's right.
Then you know there's internal racial problems. So that's going to simply go to the street 10 times even more.
That's right.
I say this to every community. I say, if there's racism internally in law enforcement, it's going to translate to the street. And that's one of the things that I write about in my book, Bigots with Badges.
That's excellent. And that's a good plug for your book, too, right? I'm not hating you. Come on, brother. That's it. That's the way to do it.
This will be helpful to you. I think it's on YouTube. You can see the video of the Ferguson police chief being asked about that. You know, it's true you've only got 3 black officers in your force. Well, that's been exaggerated. Way out of proportion. Way out of proportion. We've got 5.
But
and then he goes on to say, plus we got a couple of Hispanics and Asian Pacifics too.
No,
you know,
he said
straight face. You know, I mean, the man is clueless.
Yeah,
and yet he's not alone.
But that's the way they think. That's the way internally I found that's how they think.
And
that's
then,
how they think.
Clarence, he said that, and it was inelegantly, inartfully said, and then he came back and said that, you know, trying to get diversity on the police force has always been a challenge.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Why is it a challenge when two-thirds of the people?
He's not a dumb man. He's just clueless. That's the thing. You know?
He sly as a fox.
There's some very smart CEOs in this country who are just
That's
clueless
exactly
as
right.
CEOs. You know, but over time, in the private sector, you cannot afford to be that clueless that long and stay in business.
That's
why corporate America has been way ahead of many of our local police departments and state governments over the last 40 years.
But
they got $17 million because this is they got $17 million in military gadgets.
Wow.
The Missouri did $17 million.
Right.
And so I'm sorry, because the U.S. military can't be on American soil.
It's like a 9/11.
So this is so. So this is as good as to me. And I just had someone on a military man, 20+ years in the military. He said even in the military, Angela, we have to be cautious in, firing the gun at someone.
Thank you.
You can't just willy-nilly fire the gun at someone.
Right. Well,
speaking as an Army veteran, I will say yes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
If you look at around the country, and we look at the SWAT teams, we were talking about this the other day, the SWAT teams and how this thing came into play, why these SWAT teams started getting involved in these drug arrests and kicking these doors in. Because a lot of them were sitting around saying, we have nothing to do. We got all this training, but we want to be able to put it into action. So they came up with drugs can lead to armed violence. Drug dealers have to have weapons, have to protect their weapons or protect their people, so therefore they may shoot at you. Therefore, that gives us reason to bring this type of force in. But then I started looking at where they were bringing the force at, only in urban areas. Now, as a law enforcement officer, I saw this, other guys observed it, we observed it, and we said, let's take this force and run over to Potomac, Maryland with it. No, you're not. But see, again, because and like I was told, they know congressmen, they know lawyers, they know judges. It wasn't just lawyering up. It was the fact that they know all of these politicians and people they said, you know what happened to us? They said that we look up, they said, and they'll shut our operation down. Shut our operation, and then the guy says, there goes your overtime. So it was like, just accept it, Fogg, and go into the urban areas and do what you have to do to get your numbers up. As long as you're breaking the law, go after them. Don't worry about the other ones who are not breaking the law.
Which means there's some black officers that don't think like you. They're like, okay, yeah, let's. Just because somebody's black and they're policing black folks don't mean they're the right person. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be somebody with the right mind frame.
Right.
Yeah, that issue came up in the 60s too, you know. And after that matter, I was in Soweto in the 1970s.
Right.
And same thing with the black and white South African police.
That's right.
And their relations with the Soweto residents. But this is something that constantly happens again and again. It reminds me of a scene in The Wire where the local police detectives going to the FBI saying, we need help with these heroin traffickers. Say, hey, it's post 9/11, man. Everything got.
That's right. I remember the line.
Are any of them Arab?
Right, exactly.
Blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
But either way, you get the tanks and you get the rocket launchers and all this because you just say, we're going to have a war out here.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and return to our special coverage, Seeking Justice in Ferguson. We'll have more from our panel in just a second.